with public service, and particularly if you have been a politician, you are always around here confronting challenges. And sometimes when you speak in a particular manner, it's concluded that that person is arrogant. Mr. Speaker, I am not. And as a Christian, I should not be containing arrogance. Number two, Mr. Speaker, on the question of opulence, Mr. Speaker, I must say this with utmost respect. I do not know even what opulence means, Mr. Speaker. And let me say this. I take it to mean that people who are opulent are the ones that bask in wealth and modern things. You will see them exposing where they are with their families, where they live, showing which car they drive and all that. Mr. Speaker, I just became a victim, unfortunately, of a crossfire of a conversation. On things, Mr. Speaker, I did not go anywhere to announce to somebody that I wear this, I do that. It's just that some pictures take something you wear and this, that, Mr. Speaker. Ultimately...
And you spoke carelessly somewhere.
Ultimately, Mr. Speaker...
In some radio show.
It wasn't careless, Mr. Speaker. Ultimately, yes. I was asked in a radio show a direct question. What is the most expensive shoe, tie, watch you have ever worn? Mr. Speaker, I had two choices. You didn't
know it was a trick?
No, it's not a trick. Even if it was a trick, I had two choices. Either to lie or to say the truth.
Or not to answer.
Mr. Speaker, no, let me just come to that.
That was the third
Mr. Speaker, I would have refused to answer, but I also had the opportunity to say the truth. And by saying that truth, Mr. Speaker, having been put that question to me, Mr. Speaker, it was not by my own choice to go and say, and Mr. Speaker, you know, for me who has grown up as a son of a squatter in Embobut Forest, you know that even when we were growing up, if you get one shoe or one watch like the one I got when I was in primary school, that is your Sunday best. That is your Sunday best. It's that one expensive thing you have that sometimes you are happy with. But to say I'm opulent, Mr. Speaker, I must say this with utmost respect. I have never gloated anywhere about anything I wear, anything I have, Mr. Speaker. Even where I live, Mr. Speaker, I've never gone to announce to people that I have this kind of a house. Or, Mr. Speaker, I've never even bragged about the car I drive, even if all those things could be more expensive than the things that have been mentioned. And I have said this, and I say this when the president nominated me. There is a verse in the Bible that says, if your eye is going to hurt a neighbor or your hand is going to hurt a neighbor, you better gouge it out so that you don't make your neighbor to sin. And I say this when the president nominated me, that if in any way I behaved either by speech or conduct or my lifestyle, Mr. Speaker, in a manner that hurts any Kenyan, I apologize profusely. Mr. Speaker, that I said, and I mean it. I mean it as a Kipchumba, and I mean it as a Christian. That if I had, and Mr. Speaker, to demonstrate my commitment, Mr. Speaker, if any Kenyan tells me tomorrow that you can only wear butter shoes, and it will help me, Mr. Speaker, I'm being very honest, that if you wear only butter shoes, it will promote us to focus on your job and to hold you account on your job, Mr. Speaker, I'll do so. Because I do not want anything to distract the people of Kenya from the things I do. And I say this, Mr. Speaker, this is the conclusion, having managed, Mr. Speaker, a ministry that has so many agencies and a huge budget, I am extremely proud as Kipchumba Murkomen that for 2 years, I have not been mentioned on questions of incompetence. I've done my job with utmost hard work. The people I've left back in the ministry are very proud of the work we did. Number two, Mr. Speaker, that in those 2 years, I have not been accused by anybody on anything related to impropriety or corruption. Integrity is my middle name, Mr. Speaker, and I intend to keep that integrity, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the misconception that came around this. And I will remain in that narrow path, Mr. Speaker, for the benefit of our country.
Don't fear, don't live in fear. Honorable Murkomen, I'll ask you two short questions. Number one, I'll take you back to football, because football is the most captive sport in the world. You know that. In this country, there was a time when our second president, out of probably misadvice, outlawed social football clubs. World over,